Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live stream Tuesday. And as always, it feels like I've forgotten to do something absolutely essential to the running of the live stream, but I don't know what it is. So, hello everyone in that live chat room tonight. We have Bob and Paul, Lucy, Tammy, Cindy, Charlie, Laurie, one Sean Bond, Billy, Linda, Mary V, Bob going through again, Pamela's in there, Ro, Terry as well, Tammy, Joy, and Bernadine as well. Hello, thank you for joining me on what is a Tuesday evening here, and only just staying in Tuesday because it is 6 minutes past 11 here in the UK. Right, let's get everything on screen to see if it all works. I'm going to start with my patrons, because they make this all possible in the first place. Not only this live stream, but everything that I do on the channel with the analysis videos and all that kind of stuff. And I can see actually already that we have 162 likes. So thank you everyone for hitting that thumbs up so early on. If you want to leave a thumbs up as you come through the door, that would be much appreciated, because it will help us get closer to our target tonight of drum roll please, that doesn't exist, 335. That's what we're aiming for tonight in order to have a Phil Jam at the end of the live stream. And that's going to be Phil Jam number 34. I believe. I can't remember whether I updated that or not, whether we did 33 last time or 34. I'm sure when I click on it, I'll be able to remember which one was which. But that's if we even get there by the end of the live stream. If we get to our total of, or goal of 335, who knows what the total will be. Hopefully just a few more than that. So, yes, approaching 200 likes. Let me get this up on screen so you guys can see it is actually 203 likes that we've gone past already. So thank you guys for that. And 205, which makes it easy for me to calculate. We need 130 more people by the end of the live stream, but we have only just begun. Name that song. Not very difficult because that's the title. Anyway, in tonight's live stream, we're going to be doing much of the same. Maybe a riff of the week, maybe a Phil tune. We'll see what's been requested over on Patreon. We do have the vote currently going on for tonight's cover video, and that's between I Just Died in Your Arms Tonight and Broken Wings, I think, was the other one that was requested. So whichever one of those you want to hear a little bit later on, then just make sure you have your say by clicking on one of those two, and that's obviously going to be my version of either of those songs. Right, I think we are okay for the donations tab to get that up on screen as well. That's working. As I always say, you don't have to donate. Just watching is great. Maybe leaving a thumbs up and introducing yourself in the live chat room. But I do put that up on screen because some people can't resist donating. And I think it's important that you know between 35 and 45% goes to YouTube through the super chat window, and between 3 and 5% goes to PayPal if you do things through PayPal. And you can find a link for that in the description below if you so wish, but as I said, you don't have to donate. And just talking about YouTube and adverts and all that kind of stuff, when I started tonight's live stream, before there'd always be this box that pops up saying now would be a great time to put an advert in your live stream, and I click on that to get rid of it so that I can get back to actually starting the live stream, because it always pops up as soon as you go live. So I think they do that on purpose so that you have to put an advert in. But anyway, now there are two advert symbols, and one of them says delay ads and the other one says insert ad. So yeah, whatever YouTube are doing, they're obviously trying to put more and more adverts into videos and live streams. So I know that there was an option where you could choose how many adverts, or at least how regularly the adverts came in, and there was something like every 3 minutes or something crazy like that for a live stream, by the way. So it means that every 3 minutes you'd be leaving me and going to an advert. So obviously I didn't select that. I think I tried to select the one that was furthest apart, which I think was 16 minutes, maybe something like that. So it might be the case that those happen now. I don't know, because it only asked me a couple of days ago and we didn't have a live stream to check it. So tonight will be the first live stream that we find out what's going on with adverts and all that kind of stuff. But hopefully it's not going to interrupt the live stream. Maybe if there are adverts all over the place, you can let me know in the live chat room so that I can maybe go into settings and try and remove as many as possible, because that's what I try to do. I think with the live streams, it's even more important to not have lots of adverts in there, because maybe it pauses it and then gets you back with it after the advert, but then if it doesn't, it means you'll miss what I'm saying during the advert. But then if you're behind, when we do things like riff of the week, when you're guessing the riff, you'll be, 30 seconds behind everybody else, or maybe a minute or a minute and a half if you've seen a few adverts. So yeah, a bit of a shame, but we'll keep an eye on this live stream, see what the advert situation is like. Talking about the channel in general now, we have been growing a bit crazily over the last couple of days, and I lose track of where we are in terms of just the days, how many pass. But I know that on Saturday night we said that we had passed 313,000 subscribers, which was amazing. And now it's only Tuesday, but we've just passed 314,000 subscribers. So I'll do the pop-up, everybody goes crazy, start shouting out and screaming so you can't hear what I'm saying. But 314,000 subscribers, which is just another crazy number. It always goes up by 1,000 in the live streams when I address them. Every time we go up 1,000, for me that's a bit of a milestone, but you know, obviously we've had 314 milestones so far, but that is great. And thank you guys for watching the channel and leaving comments, hitting the thumbs up especially, because I think that really does help the channel to grow and for the videos to get out there as well. But yeah, for getting involved and commenting. Now I've just had something pop up on the screen which has never popped up before, and it says in 15 seconds ads will run shortly for some viewers. So we will see. I'm going to let it run down to 0, and if an ad runs, let me know in the live chat room to see, because then I can get a gauge as to how many people are now affected by this new ad thing that has just popped up for tonight's live stream with these 2 different symbols. So we will keep an eye on that. Anybody report back if you've just been sent to an advert. And then I think there was a skip button, but we're experimenting. I mean, this is how we get to know that it works or what happens. So I'll keep an eye on that live chat room. And as soon as one comes through, just let me know. Right. 123 Rockchild said, I got an ad. We have Howard says, yes, an ad. Let me see. Bonnie got one as well. Ad just ran for Vince and Allison. Ad running. Okay. Liz just says add on. Oh, but as in don't add anything, but an advert. So, don't call me Angie. No ad in Vancouver. So it must be obviously location specific as to where the adverts happen. Mandy said no ad, laptops don't get them. Still going through. Yes, I had the ads too, Mary V. So seems like quite a lot of people got affected by that ad, and that was something that just popped up, and YouTube said, by the way, we're going to just hit your viewers with an ad randomly. So what will happen next time, if that same thing comes up, I'll click on the skip thing before it counts down. But that means I'm doing even more things on the screen. I'm now having to look out for advert pop-ups and countdowns to try and cancel them to make sure that everyone can still see what I'm saying. Okay, it's just another thing to work our way through on these live streams. It'll be fine. If anything pops up, I'll try and cancel it. Right, getting into the donations that you don't have to make, but thank you guys for the donations. But just watching is great. Orlando donated $2 and said catch up crew again, spike the likes. So thank you for that, Orlando. Great idea there. And let's have a plug of the mug just after we've had a spike of the likes from Orlando, and hopefully from you guys in the live chat room. Paul says add in pen. I assume that means Pennsylvania. So yeah, thank you guys for giving me the feedback, because now I know that quite a lot of people have been affected by the advert, so I can then find it and skip it next time. But yeah, getting back to donations, thank you for that, Orlando. Plug of the mug, if you want to get your hands on any of the merchandise, I kind of interrupted myself, then you can click on the tray underneath this video, if indeed you have that. If you have pictures of merchandise, it will take you through to the spring.com store. If you don't have the tray underneath this video, then there's a link in the description below where there are t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, all that kind of thing. So we've had some donations in the PayPal window as well, so thank you for these. And that reminds me, I think Jan donated right at the end of the live stream, and I did type in, because I'd finished, I did type in to the live chat room just saying thank you, but just to mention that at the beginning of this one, because I do address all of the donations no matter when they happen. So this donation came in at 12 minutes past 4 on Sunday morning. So thank you for this, Dina, and it's for £7.52, and that is a straight up donation. And Roseanne donated £5, and this was at 57 minutes past 1 on Sunday afternoon. Thank you for that, Roseanne. The message is, hi Phil, have you or anyone in your family ever had a close encounter with a member of the royal family? Thanks and take care. So thank you for that. And not to my knowledge, but I mean, Maidenhead is quite close to Windsor anyway, you know, where the Queen spends quite a lot of time. So yeah, we've been to Windsor Castle. I've been to Windsor Castle, and I know that people travel very far in order to go to Windsor Castle and go on the tour and all that kind of stuff, have a walk around, because it's so ridiculously big that the Queen is only in one section and you can walk around the rest of the castle if you want to. So yeah, for us that's probably a 10-minute drive from Maidenhead. And there is, I do believe, and it's probably about a 1-minute drive, a pub called the Windsor Castle, and the reason it's called the Windsor Castle is because on a clear day, I think you can look, because the land is higher, you can look into the distance and see Windsor Castle. So yeah, it's not very far from Maidenhead at all. So we haven't had an encounter with anybody from the royal family personally, but we do live quite close to that anyway, so we've never felt like it's something that's really far away, because you can literally see it if you want to. And then when the Queen's in, they put the flag up so you know that she's home. Not that you can go and knock on the door or anything, but at least you know that she's in residence, probably chilling out, watching Judge Judy. I don't know what the Queen does when she's chilling out, but I doubt it is that. But then again, you never know. So anyway, thank you for that, Roseanne. And when I'm talking about the Queen, obviously, sadly, she's passed on, and now we have the King, but the Queen used to have the flag up, and that's what I'm talking about pretty much when I was a kid, and that's what we would go and see when we went over to Windsor Castle, that she was in residence. But yes, now for people that maybe don't keep up with it, we have a king, King Charles. So yes, and that was something that was, I think, obviously a shock to everybody, because we thought the Queen was just going to go on ad infinitum, but then changing the national anthem to now sing God Save the King. So it's, I think everybody in my lifetime, I've only ever known the Queen, so it's a bit of a weird change to now sing God Save our King. So anyway, getting away or back to the question, no, I haven't had any close encounters. It starts to sound a bit like an alien thing, but I didn't have any close encounters with the Queen when she was alive, or the King since, or Prince Charles as he was back then, the times that I'm talking about. But anyway, thank you for that donation, Roseanne. And going through, we've had another one that's just come in from Nicole for £16.25. Thank you for that, Nicole. When I say that, it came in today at 9 minutes past 8 this morning, so a little bit of a while ago. But the message is, Phil, a little hello. I do not resist joining you under a fierce sun. I dream of England. I hope you are saved from this heat. Keep a good shape, Phil. Love and cheers. So thank you for that. And temperature-wise, it's not too bad here in the UK. I do have the air conditioning on at the moment, but I thought, actually, probably the reason that it gets so warm in this room, I mean, I've got the lights on and everything, but they're not like bulbs, they're like LCD light things, so they don't produce too much heat. But I do have soundproofing things that I've done to the room to keep the sound of my voice in the room, so it doesn't disturb anybody else and neighbours and all that kind of stuff. So there is a degree of that going on, sound treatment, having foam on the walls and things. As you can see behind me, the black and red triangles, they are squares, but obviously just turned around, so it looks like a triangle if I put my head in the right place, but they are squares that have been turned around, and maybe diamonds, that's the best way to describe them. But back to the point that it probably gets really hot in this room because of that as well, that there's not a great deal or any really airflow going through, because I'm trying to keep everything in the room noise wise, and that probably doesn't help keeping just the air in the room. It's got nowhere to escape to, so hence we've got the air conditioning on at the moment, and yeah, it's working nicely, and I've positioned it in a place where I feel the benefit of it all the time. I've just directed it at myself, but it isn't actually that hot in the UK at the moment. I'd say maybe in the mid-20s Celsius, something like that. And yeah, it gets really hot when it's in like the 30s, and then 40 and 41, which I think is the record, but it's difficult to keep track on the temperature because it seems to just be getting hotter all the time with every passing summer. And even before summer, you know, we had like 40, 41 degrees, which is crazy for the UK, but maybe something that's going to be happening more regularly in the future. But thank you, Nicole, for that donation. And Roderick has donated £3 as well. Thank you for that. It's a straight up donation. And Paul has donated $5. Thank you for that, Paul. And the message is, wow, 314,000 subscribers. Most excellent. Let's spike those likes all, y'all, and have fun tonight. So great idea there from Paul. Let's spike the likes and see where we get with our likes total. Although I can see it's actually 313 likes so far. So we are well on the way to hitting our target of 335. Just 20 more people. So maybe we can hit that thumbs up if you're watching this in the future. Of course, on catch up, you can keep on hitting that thumbs up. It really helps the channel to grow and for this live stream to get out there a little bit more. But thank you, Paul, for that donation. And Tammy has donated £10 as well. Thank you for that, Tammy. The message is, hi Phil, congratulations again for hitting 314,000 subscribers. That is amazing. What role does marketing play in the success of a musician or music group? Rock. So thank you for that. I don't know, this is difficult. I'm going to talk from my perspective that as an independent musician, it's not as important marketing because you don't need a huge audience. If you've got your own publishing rights and all that kind of stuff, you can make money from your own music, and you take all of that money for yourself to obviously make it now sustainable for yourself to continue to do it in the future. So the problem with signing with a major label, for example, is that you don't really own anything, but they do spend a huge amount of money on marketing. And obviously if you're getting your face out there quite a lot and you're on billboards and all that kind of stuff, then the awareness of your music is a lot greater and you will sell a hell of a lot more albums and singles. But the problem with that is, however much the record label has spent on marketing and advertising, you owe them that money back. And that's always going to be the problem, that you sign a record deal for $1 million. Part of that $1 million is marketing, it is promotion, is advertising. So it's a loan, so you have to make those sales back, at least breaking even, so that you don't owe the record label the money, because you don't own anything. If you don't make that money back for them, then you have to spend the time outside of now recording trying to make that money back. And that's why so many artists in the past have recorded, say for example, 3 albums, and they didn't make the money back that was spent on the albums and on transportation and on their tour and everything. So now they're having to continue to tour away from those 3 albums, and now outside of the contract they still owe money on that contract when they signed it. So they're having to sometimes play for another 5 years, and all of the ticket sales, they don't get the money for that. It goes to the debt that they have with the record label. So a bit of a nightmare, and this is why I always say about staying away from signing with major labels. And I don't know whether I can mention this or not, but I will anyway, because in my chat with Taj that I had on the channel, and by the way, Taj Farrant has gone to number 1 in the blues charts again with his follow-up single. So, I mean, great news there, and I just caught a bit of it on Instagram, at least kind of the post saying that it had gone to number 1. So, yeah, but anyway, back to what I was saying about, publishing rights, owning things, signing record deals. That I always advise people away from that, or, direct them away from it, because I don't think it's a good idea. So, talking to Taj and his dad, Brandon, and this was actually before the interview, because we spoke for about an hour and a half before we actually did the interview. But it was interesting because, I mean, they were asking for my advice on lots of different things, and I was getting the story from Brandon especially about Taj and the offers that he had from record labels, and the major labels all wanted to sign Taj, of course, because he's such a talented kid and had quite a good following, but they wanted to sign him in order to make music that they thought would be better for him. And I mean, this is where, I mean, the offers must have been quite impressive, quite tempting, but Brandon thought, well, no, because we want Taj to do a particular kind of music, we still want him to play guitar and play the blues effectively. So yeah, they didn't say yes to any of those. They wanted to get an offer that was going to be doing the music that Taj wanted to do. So anyway, they got lots of offers, but then they said, well, no, can we do like a blues album, something like that? And then all of the major labels said, no, we want you to do a kind of sound that we think is going to sell more or sell the most. So massive credit to Brandon and Taj for turning down big record deals and just sticking at doing what they do and taking that independent route. So yeah, I mean, having done that, this is what Brandon told me, that after his first single, a blues single, went to number 1, guess what happened? All of the record labels that told them that they wouldn't do a blues album because it wasn't popular enough, and there was no money in the blues, nowadays, apparently, according to the major labels. He said all of them got back in touch now, offering a deal to do a blues album. Because he went to number 1, obviously they know that Taj and his dad are now making money. They go, oh, hang on, no, we will do it because we want money, please, from you. We want to make money, off your back. And, now that we can see that you have the following and you're outselling all of our artists that are selling blues, all of our albums that we're releasing, you are selling more than, we now want to offer you a contract. So, and I mean, that just about sums up record labels, is they don't care about music, artistic integrity, believing in your own sound, wanting to do something that's credible for your fans. They just want money, and if they don't think something's going to sell, they're not going to even offer to give you what you want or a sound that you want to make. But as soon as you show you can do it yourself, they then want to sign you. So anyway, this in the end just totally backs up my point of view, and I'm sure that it's something that Brandon and Taj probably took into consideration for staying independent, would be the fact that you don't need to sell as much in order to make the same amount of money that you would do if you were signed to a major label. But if you're going to number 1, then you're in prime position, because Taj is writing his songs. He's an original artist, which means that he will be making the money that the record label would have been making, and probably just squandering on producer fees and the amount of things that they spend money on, that is just a bit of a cop-out. I say cop-out, they're just lining their own pockets, like spending ridiculous amounts of money on studio costs. Whereas, 6-figure sums, that's what, is a normal thing for a major label to spend on recording an album in the studio. Like, that is a ridiculous amount of money, but of course most of that fee goes in the producer's pocket. It isn't something that's really a necessity for actually buying the plugins that you need and paying yourself for your time. Obviously they think, well, why not? If we're spending that amount of money on it, why shouldn't I get paid £100,000 for doing an album? If you can, why not? Because you've got an artist who is so popular, he's selling hundreds of thousands of copies of an album, and it means that they might be making $1 million or $2 million. So 100,000, yeah, I'll give myself that for being a producer, because that leaves us with 1.9 million left. They might even give themselves even more than that, because I have seen some astronomical charges from producers on major labels. But anyway, yeah, back to the point that, yes, staying independent, if you can do that, it is a really important thing that I always tell people to do if they can do. And yeah, it's great because it means that Taj has his own direction now. You know, that he can just make the music that he wants to make. And I know that certainly with songs, or at least kind of one particular song that I was chatting with Brandon, and he wanted my opinion on it, and I told him my opinion on it, and you know, it was exactly what Brandon wanted to hear, but in the right kind of way, because you know, I always try to be as positive as possible, but when I think that an artist is doing something that's outside of how I see their direction, their personality, and something that they excel in, and part of their identity, if I think they've done something that has been a little bit too far removed from that, then I will tell them. And that's exactly what I said to Brandon, and you know, afterwards he said, yeah, that's exactly what he wanted to hear from me, that he wanted to be doing now what he's doing, and kind of wanted that, I don't know, that affirmation that it's now the right thing for Taj to be doing his original music, going in that blues direction. And certainly from the first 2 singles that he's released, they've gone to number 1. I mean, that's all the affirmation that you need, really, from the public, that he's in the right direction, he's doing the right thing. So yeah, great that Taj is well on the way, and just a massively talented guy anyway. So getting back to the donations, thank you for that, Tammy. We did go down a little bit of an avenue, but I think it's just interesting to mention something that wasn't in that interview with Taj, but it was more of just a chat that we had. It wasn't part of the interview, so we weren't talking about things that I would then say, oh, by the way, the chat that we had for an hour and a half, I'm going to put that all on the internet. It's more of a kind of, you know, friendly private chat thing, and yeah, it wasn't for part of the interview with Taj that I was doing for the channel. But anyway, thank you Steve as well, who has donated £5, and the message is, which music star's death was the first to hit you? Which one made the biggest impact? I remember Jimmy, Janice and Jim like it was yesterday. So thank you for that, Steve. And I mean, this is, I don't know, a bit different for me, because I started playing guitar and getting into guitar when I was 11. So it meant that, you know, by the time, you know, obviously Jimi Hendrix had long gone by then, but also Stevie Ray Vaughan died in 1990, which means, yeah, I still wasn't going to be playing guitar for 3 or 4 years. So when I started listening to Stevie Ray, I then found out that he had died, and you know, it had been, you know, a few years previous. So yeah, that was I wasn't hit with the shock of knowing somebody's music for so long. Like, say for example, you know, people that have known an artist or listened to them for years. I was just learning to play guitar, and then, you know, checked out this particular guitarist, and then realised that they had died. So yeah, I guess it was a bit disappointing, because obviously I really like the sound, and you like guitarists that you listen to still be around, so you can see videos of their performances. And as a kid, obviously YouTube wasn't a thing yet. It actually wasn't a thing. I don't know how late on, but probably my late teens, something like that. So yeah, actually seeing artists perform and guitarists play wasn't something that I could do as a kid. You had to go out and maybe buy a DVD, but then even still, trying to find something like that, it wasn't a regular thing. It was VHS back in those days anyway, but they weren't readily available, so I just had to listen to tapes and take the image from Jimi Hendrix, for example, on, you know, album covers and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's the only way that I could attribute a particular image to a sound that I was listening to and then trying to figure out. But I would say, yeah, voices of my youth and people that I have grown up with. I've mentioned about George Michael being one of those. So when he died, even though obviously he didn't die at a really young age, but still for myself and my family that was a shock. And I think collectively, same thing for Michael Jackson, just because my parents used to buy his albums all the way back to the Jackson 5. But the fact that we had tickets to see him at Wembley. Oh no, it's actually at the O2, and that was for the This Is It, his kind of final thing. So I think that was a shock because we had tickets to go and see him. So then, getting obviously geared up to watch him live, because it's something that none of my family had ever done before. So yeah, we were very much looking forward to that. And then probably more on a personal note, Gary Moore was one of those. Again, he didn't die at a really young age, but still was a guitarist that I was hugely into. So for me, Gary Moore passing away was a shock. And there's something that you're just never expecting it, especially when you've been listening to that person's music for pretty much your whole life. I got into Gary Moore pretty much after Jimi Hendrix, and in my teenage years was definitely listening to a lot of Gary Moore. So his Run for Cover album I pretty much wore out and had that on tape, and then got it on CD once the tape ran out after so many years. And I think that was one that my dad had the tape for first, like with Van Halen, the album, and then I just listened to that, and they're quite worn out anyway because my dad listened to them quite a lot. So that was on a personal note, probably Gary Moore. I remember very clearly. But thank you for that, Steve. And Debbie has donated £10 as well. Thank you for that, Debbie. And the message is, hi Phil, awesome job on the auto-tune / pitch correction videos. Have you ever watched a paranormal type show called Ancient Aliens? You are the best. Love you, Debbie. So thank you for that, Debbie. And yes, so first of all, yes, the auto-tune pitch correction videos have been interesting because there are still some people who it looks like somebody might have got another ad there. Maybe I missed out. This is going to be the problem, that I can't look at everything. So when I get like that, it's a little notification at the bottom of the screen on the YouTube studio screen, and that's out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the 8 screens that I look at. Unfortunately, if I'm looking at donations, there might be something that kicks off. So if there is an extra advert, I apologise for that. Hopefully you can skip past them. But back to the auto-tune pitch correction. I have had a couple of I was going to say actual comments, but of course they are comments. They're actual comments. But people that can't get the difference, or they don't know the difference actually between auto-tune and pitch correction. The fact that in the studio, auto-tune has auto in there, meaning it's an automatic process. And if anybody that's used a DAW, a digital audio workstation, I use Logic Pro, or Logic Pro 10, anybody that's used one of those will be used to pitch correction and auto-tune and will know that they're different terms, they're different processes, even though in English changing the pitch of something is obviously correcting the pitch if you're trying to make it closer to a note. But just that process in the studio, which in the video that the guy was commenting on, he says, why do you keep calling auto-tune not pitch correction? Because it is. But in the video, I actually explain it. So this is a bit of an annoying thing, that people don't watch the full video and then ask me a question where the answer is in the video. I describe that, like I've just said there, that in your production software, they're different processes. Pitch correction is literally grabbing the note yourself manually and moving it to a note. Auto-tune is saying to a computer, right, move every sound that you hear to that scale. And then it does it automatically. It moves the notes itself. So that's why it can be used live, because you don't need to be dragging things. You can't drag things in real time live because you can't do it quick enough to the notes. So that's why pitch correction and auto-tune are different things. But anyway, thank you for that. And as for Ancient Aliens, I have seen bits of it, but it generally tends to be just 5 minutes at a time, or 10 minutes if I have a spare 5 or 10 minutes. I'll have it on in the background if I'm on the laptop doing emails or that kind of stuff. But interesting stuff. From what I remember, it's obviously ancient aliens is like back in the Aztec times, and maybe on the pyramids, on the walls, or it might even be in the burial chambers that they have the drawings on the wall, or there's an official word for the drawings that sounds obviously better than what... Oh, and I almost got it there. My brain gave me a word that sounded like graphs, but it maybe is glyphs. Something glyphs. Anyway, yeah, my brain's not giving me the word. So, anyway, yeah, the drawings on the walls of like burial chambers that maybe have alien-looking entities on there. So yeah, interesting stuff to whether they did visit maybe a very long time ago. And this is the other thing about going, looking at Tutankhamun and all that kind of stuff. And I have been to an expedition. I haven't been on an expedition. I've been to an exhibition on it. But yeah, not an expedition. Had to take a bit of time off from the channel to go out to Egypt to check all that out. So anyway, and it's probably too hot for my liking over there, but getting back to the exhibition that I went to, sometimes in London they have these kinds of things where obviously they bring in everything and make it into something where you can walk around and hear an audio file, or somebody telling you about the thing or the booth that you're looking at, all that kind of stuff. Went to one of those for Titanic as well. So yeah, all really interesting stuff. And the fact that maybe back in those days, what was it, 3,000, 4,000 years ago, something crazy like that, that maybe aliens were coming down and saying hello and helping them with their technology, because they seem to have a lot of things sus back in those days. And then we obviously lost all the technology when they all disappeared, and then we had to relearn it all again. And now we realise actually they figured out quite a lot of stuff, especially if they were talking to aliens. But anyway, thank you for that, Debbie. And Elaine has donated £5 and 50 pence. So thank you for that, Elaine. And the message is, hi Phil, it's not a donation, it's a tip for the Phil Jam tip jar. Love those. So thank you for that, Elaine. And we will be having a Phil Jam later on tonight, because we have 398, just as I say that. So almost at 400. Thank you guys for hitting that thumbs up. You can keep on doing that, of course, if you want to. It really helps this live stream to get out there and for the channel to grow, as it has been doing a lot recently. And thank you guys for subscribing as well, hitting the notification bell, all of that cool stuff. But yes, Elaine, thank you for that tip for the Phil Jam a little bit later on. And Janice has donated £15. Thank you for that, Janice. The message is, Philip, how do you keep your t-shirts so new looking? So, I don't know. I wash them. I guess I do iron them. I know that that's quite an old-fashioned thing to do, especially for the younger generation. But I do make time to try and iron my shirts. So even though they're quite old, I do wash them and iron them to keep them in as good a condition as I can. But I mean, they still do, unfortunately, I don't know, they not quite disintegrate, but they do occasionally get holes in them. And I'm not sure how old this one is. This is one of my newer Queen ones, but I think on my older Queen one, it does now have a hole in it, so it is disintegrating a little bit. So it's just, unfortunately, the effect of time on t-shirts, they run out. And I mean, they do sometimes fade as well, but yeah, keeping them all in one cohesive unit and not getting any holes in it is very difficult. So thank you for that, Janice. And Marge has donated £3 and 75 pence. So thank you for that. And the message is, many thanks, all the best from Atlanta, GA. I'm trying to think of which state GA is, but Atlanta, Georgia, maybe. I'm not sure whether GA stands for Georgia, because it doesn't seem like it should do. Maybe it should be like GI or something. But thank you for that. And And we've had another donation that's just come in from Laura, who's donated £10. So thank you for that, Laura. And the message is, Phil, have you ever gotten feedback from a producer who disagrees with your stance on staying independent? So thank you for the question. And no, not really. I mean, not with the producers that I know, that I interact with, because they tend to be people that aren't in with major labels. And sometimes you get producers who are working solely for a label, which means that, yeah, they're part of that system. Whereas I generally work with independent producers and people who work with independent bands, because, you know, there are producers out there who do it for the love of making music and helping people out and producing. And I'm very much, you know, I think within that bracket of just doing things to help people. And there are, you know, people that I've worked with in the past, like Fluid Mastering, for example. Tim, who I know there, he is like a freelance masterer. So he does mastering, and he works for major labels because he's really good. Obviously, you know, they will work with him, and he produces stuff and masters stuff for them for a fee. But then for independent artists, he has a separate fee, because he knows that independent artists don't have the budget of, you know, major labels. So he's one of those guys that will do the job for the love of the music and bring down his rates to make it accessible to people that want to, you know, get a professional sound for their songs, but wants to still do it all themselves. And yeah, he's a guy that, you know, is great because he does such a great job, but he's just a normal guy and he's just a nice guy. And I generally, you know, just gravitate towards people that are of a similar mindset to me. You know, if I can help anybody out with anything, with advice, or, you know, teaching, playing guitar, all that kind of stuff, any advice that I've got for people, then yeah, I'm not one of these people that say, oh, if you want my advice, you've got to subscribe to my course, and I explain it all on that. And, you know, for that course, it's just reminded myself of all the sales pitches that you get on not only YouTube but websites where they say, if you want all the super secret stuff that nobody else tells you about, usually it's like $999, but today I'm doing a special deal for $49.99. It's something ridiculous. And with that, you get a free this, you get a free that. And then when you say, no, I don't want that, they'll say, well, what about $39.99? And they do all these sales things. Whereas, you know, like with my analysis videos, I just kind of point out whatever I can with the knowledge that I have. And if people ask me questions about it, I just answer them whatever they want to know. I'm not putting it behind a paywall of, and that's the other thing, saying, you know, I will only analyze videos that people pay me to do. You know, I've never done that, and I'll never do that in the future. And that's why I say you don't have to donate on the live streams. We just push forward and share information, share knowledge, and just see what we can learn from artists that have been in the past and performances that we can look at. That's how I approach it. So yeah, nothing is off limits. So anyway, thank you for the donations, even though you don't have to. They are much appreciated. And Stardust Unicorn support band to Wings of Pegasus have donated $1.99. So thank you for that. And it's a picture of a ball, well, it might be the sun, with a star on it. So thank you for that. David has donated $5 and says, Phil, what kind of car would you love to own? So thank you for that, David. And I don't know, because I am wary of the whole, you know, temperature going up. I think there's something definitely in the whole global warming thing and carbon dioxide, all that kind of stuff. So I would have said before, when I was younger, probably a Dodge Viper, because that's a car that I used to drive on Gran Turismo, which is one of the first computer games that I got into, like driving games. So I would have said that, but it's not particularly fuel efficient. So yeah, I don't really have a wish list for cars. Just the car that I've got at the moment is absolutely fine. It gets me from A to B, and I did I guess, make the investment of getting an electric car. So, and it's fully electric, so it has a range of about 200 miles, which I know is quite a lot for an electric car, but that'll get me into London and back from London, which is all really I need to do. Like, if I ever do get invited to gigs like I have done in the past, then generally they're going to be at the O2 or at Wembley Arena. So yeah, it means that I can travel there, travel back without a problem with an electric car, and just do the small journeys to the shops and all that kind of stuff. So I've never needed, or I think for where I am at the moment, I don't need to have a petrol car that can go for hundreds and hundreds of miles. I can just charge it up as and when I need it. So yeah, I know that the infrastructure isn't really there for electric cars, but because I'm not needing to drive to work every day, it's something that for me it's just more convenient to have an electric car. And also it means that I'm not using petrol and all that kind of stuff, and I think I've got quite a low carbon footprint anyway. The only thing really is electricity, but I think that just goes in the car if I need to go anywhere, and obviously just for this, for running a computer. But I think if I had the figures for the average carbon footprint of somebody who maybe flies to places as well, I think mine's pretty low down. I think if everybody just did what I did, just worked from home, didn't use a car to travel anywhere, and if they did travel, they used an electric car, and if they didn't fly anywhere, then yeah, it would probably save on quite a lot of those carbon gases all going around. But obviously different people have different needs for different things. So thank you for that, David. And Marsha has donated $10 as well. Thank you for that, Marsha. The message is, you are close to the Queen because you have a t-shirt on. Queen, laugh out loud. So thank you for that, Marsha. And yes, indeed, the Queen shirt on tonight. So a relevant question from earlier, but thank you, Dave, as well, who has donated £5 and says, hi Phil, your thoughts on the AI music covers on YouTube, examples of George Michael singing Sunny and She's Fresh. Oh, and it's got a big number 1 next to it, so it meant it's Dave's first donation in the Super Chat window. So thank you for that, Dave. And I mean, at the moment, with everything being so busy on the channel, I haven't really had a chance to check out any AI music or got into the AI thing at all. I mean, I'm still getting over auto-tune and pitch correction. I haven't even got as far as the AI thing. So yeah, I haven't checked it out, I haven't listened to any of it, and it's not something that I actively search for and really feel the need to listen to on YouTube. So yeah, I haven't checked it out at the moment, so I can't really give you any thoughts on it. But I'm sure at some point in the future I will listen to it. Maybe there'll be a video request in the future to have a look at AI music or AI singing. But for me, yeah, it's pretty much, I don't know, maybe it's a step further than auto-tune and pitch correction, but yeah, for me, auto-tune was pretty much the first bit of AI anyway, that's effectively hearing a noise, hearing a note, and instantly changing it to another note. It's figuring out where to move notes to. So it was I guess an early form of that, even though it's probably classed as something different. So anyway, thank you for that, Dave. And we are going to be jumping into tonight's cover video because it is 5 minutes to midnight here. So we're going to have to get a shift on to get everything finished before the end of the live stream. We are going to be doing the fill jam, and I'm just trying to remember, I can't do it off the top of my head, how long the track was that we're going to be jamming over. So anyway, I'm going to end this poll for tonight's cover video. It's disappeared, but it has come back. I Just Died in Your Arms Tonight had 56% of the vote, so thank you guys for voting for that one. We are going to be jumping into this. Of course, it's my version of the Cutting Crew Classic, and I'll see you guys after. Rock!
I just died in your arms tonight. The curtains are closed, the cat's in a cradle. Who'd have thought that a boy like me could come to this? Whoa, I just died in your arms tonight. Must have been something you said. I just died in your arms tonight. Whoa, I just died in your arms tonight. Must have been some kind of kiss. I should've walked away. I should've walked away. Is there any just cause for feeling like this? On the surface, I'm a name on the list. I try to be discreet, but then blow it again. I've lost and found, it's my final mistake. She's loving by proxy, no give and I'll take. 'Cause I've been dreaming to fantasy one too many times. Whoa, I just died in your arms tonight. Must have been something you said. I just died in your arms tonight. Whoa, I just died in your arms tonight. Must have been some kind of kiss. I should've walked away. I should've walked away. It was a long, hard night. She made it easy, she made it feel right. But now it's over, the moment is gone. I follow my hands, not my head. I know I was I just died in your arms tonight. Must have been something you said. I just died in your arms tonight. Whoa, I just died in your arms tonight. Must have been something you said. I just died in your arms tonight. Whoa, I just died in your arms tonight. Must have been some kind of kiss. I should've walked away. I should've walked away.
And there we have it. That was my version of I Just Died in Your Arms by Cutting Crew. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. And I caught one. Here we go. Ads will run shortly for some viewers. No, they won't. Skip ads. Right, I saw that one. It says ads skipped. So I saved you from another ad at least. But yeah, it's quite small on my screen, so I'm not surprised I didn't notice that. I just happened to see it there when I looked across. Right, we do have Picture Corner as well. We're going to be jumping into that. Then we'll be getting into the Phil Jam. Right, let's jump into Picture Corner and see what's going on in there this evening on a Tuesday night. Technically, it's now Wednesday morning because it's 1 minute past midnight. Right, first of all, I need to navigate my way to the pictures, which will help so that we can see that. And here okay, so I'm gonna have to try and figure out a way to get this to work because the screen capture thing that I usually use is not working. So let me see if I can grab that. I guess what you guys can do is just listen to the elevator music in the background if you want to, and just pretend that you're travelling somewhere in an elevator while I try and figure out how I'm going to show this on screen. I'm not going to take this. I'm going to take this as a loss. I'm going to try and do a screen capture like this. Grab that over there. Put that on here. And the question is this now going to appear on the screen? Yes, it does. It's totally in the wrong place, but it has. Hang on, let me see if I can move it. Yes, right. So here, let me get the picture there. This is Marge. Actually, it doesn't really look too much like a normal picture corner picture. Let me move it to the middle a little bit more. But there is a mug there. There is, I do believe, there's one. I think we have another picture, but there's at least one mug in this picture, and it is the Phil Toon mug. So yeah, thank you for uploading that one, Marge. And I think this was the other one. Will this be? Yes. Okay, this is the one that has a mug that's a little bit hiding in the background. Actually, it's like camouflaged by the plants, but then we have the Phil Toon mug a little bit closer. So thank you for that, Marge. And I'm amazed that these two pictures they were the same size, so the screen capture worked on both of them. I don't know whether it's going to work on the third and final picture, which is, and it has worked. Unbelievable. This is a collection of mugs that have been sent in by Dawn, so thank you for this, Dawn. Probably every version of the mug that you can get, I'm not sure, but from memory I think it is. We have the Tuesday live stream Spike the Likes mug there, the Phil Toon mug. Let's see how they get on in the 3 different colours. So thank you, Dawn, for getting your hands on the mugs, but also for uploading that picture. And if you guys want to get involved yourselves, if you've got any Wings of Pegasus merchandise you want to model, you can head over to the Wings of Pegasus supporters group page over on Facebook if you are a Facebook user. So there we have it. Somehow I got away with it. And I'm now thinking whether it's because usually I have to upload things to software, and then like tonight hasn't worked properly. I'm wondering whether I should do it like this every time. Maybe it's going to be easier in the future. But anyway, there we have it. We should be able to get rid of the pictures and then maybe come back to me, as we have done. I was trying to listen to hear any of the music in the background, but I think that stopped, so it all worked fine in the end. I just had to just fill a bit of time. That's what happens on TV sometimes, when you know that the TV show that you're watching still has like about a minute left, and the person's just talking about absolutely nothing, trying to fill the time, and then as soon as it gets to 0 they say, and see you next time. Sometimes just talking about something that's totally irrelevant to what they've just been talking about to fill the time. Anyway, we are going to be jumping into tonight's Phil Jam. Just before we do, though, we have... we are up to date with the PayPals and the Super Chat window, I believe. So that is fine. I do like to get up to date with those, because sometimes after the Phil Jams, I'm in the Phil Jam mode, and then we wrap things up for the live stream, and somebody might donate and it will come through at the last minute and I don't see it, and I do like to address every single donation, but I think we are fine. The other thing is we might have wah-wah functionality from the last Phil Jam that we did. Oh, and by the way, thank you whoever it was that said we did Phil Jam number 34 last time, because I sneakily changed it then to number 35 during the cover video. So I think, we'll go on to obviously number 35. I am taking your word for it that it was number 34. Right, click on number 35. And we have an advert, of course. So I'll mute that, and that can play through while I grab the guitar. And then we can skip that. Okay, here we go. Oh, this is part of a playlist of odd time signature jam tracks, but this one comes from Quist. which we have had tracks from before. So that's QUIST, this particular backing track, and it's 11/8, so that's like 11/8, so that's the time signature, twisted synth pop backing track, and B in brackets, so it means that it's going to be in B, B major, I assume, because B with a little M after it means B minor. But anyway, Jan has just donated 20 Norwegian kroner. Thank you for that. And the message is, love your jams, Phil. So thank you for that. And then straight underneath that, Barbara said, chair please. Or no, chair up please. Right, so let's get the chair up. And let's see where we are. Okay, right, that's not... is that... Oh no, what's going on? Well, I want to try and... I think this is going to work with a wah-wah, but we'll have to change... that's a bit better. Right, oh, Vince, someone asked last time what a wah-wah pedal was. Demo. Oh, so, let me quickly try and press this on. So, I mean, it's exactly what it sounds like. It changes the frequency of the guitar to give a wah wah sound. So, keeping this in B, you can hear that. Like this is like going. You're making a noise. Well, this is what the pedal's doing. So it's closed at the moment, going like that. If you now change to going, I'm now going, the sound is now brighter. It's like been EQ'd so that the top end comes through. So if you go from like that and go, that process of going gives you a wah sound, going from having no top end to then allowing the top end to come through. It has the impression of sounding like a wah. So if we go, so that's what's happening. And in order to do that, it goes, you're opening the pedal. You're pushing your foot down in order to get it to open. Kind of like that. Anyway, so that's the thing. It's not doing anything other than just, it's not changing the note or anything. It's just changing the sound of it with EQ. So yeah, that's a simplistic kind of way of explaining it, but hopefully that makes sense. Right, I don't know whether we should start. It's probably better to start without the wah-wah. Or maybe we'll start with the wah-wah. Who cares? Let's see what this is all about. Okay, I can hear it. Oh, jam track starts at 24. Enjoy. Okay, so we're in 11/8 here, so we're going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Kind of sounds like we're going. Clap Loud Cat said track too loud. I can't hear well, it's not too loud for me. Backing track too loud. Backing track is loud, okay. Is that better? We're getting quite a lot of ads. Maybe people are saying just got an ad, so maybe we're getting an ad in the Fill Jam. Also, you might hear more of a buzz from the wah wah pedal because it brings out the top end, so it means that if there is any fuzz, like I've just turned it off, so hopefully it's a little bit better. go. Just fades out. So anyway, that was that. Again, I think that's one of those, that was just kind of the same thing over and over again. So yeah, relatively kind of straightforward-ish, but this is it. It's just what happens with the jam tracks. Sometimes they go on for quite a long time and it's just kind of the same thing. But, I mean, that's kind of, yeah, good to work out. But yeah, I mean, generally what I'm doing is just playing, see what happens, and if there is anything on the screen, I don't actually look at it. So let me actually see what this says. Yeah, it did actually say on the video, B, B, G, major 7th, E. So that's what the chords would have been playing. I don't think there's any guitar in there, just kind of some synth chords. So, went from B into G major 7th. I'm trying to think whether what I was playing, I mean, hopefully what I was playing went with it, but that G major 7th, I'm not sure where I was going for that, but anyway, whatever I was hearing, and I think I saw somebody say whether I use scales or shapes and all that kind of stuff when I play, and I don't really use anything. I tend to, I mean, the shape that I first used, like when I was listening to Jimi Hendrix and he went, and he did that, and like, I didn't know what these shapes were called. I was just I just listened to it and kind of worked it out. But you know, as a kid, I didn't know any theory. I was just kind of messing around. So yeah, anything that I then learned, I then realised, oh, you can play this note, you can play that note, and you start to kind of come up with your own shapes and things that kind of work in, you know, in the key of whatever's playing. And then sometimes, like when you're just listening to a record, you don't know the key of it, so you just kind of play around on your fretboard and see kind of what works and what doesn't, and eventually by default you now know all the scales and the shapes, but you don't know what they're called. You know, like for example, pentatonic shape 1, if I take this into B minor instead, going just that shape, like I never learned pentatonic shape 1, but I knew actually I did that, which was sliding down. That's the shape that I played, because I didn't kind of go over to that low E string for the minor pentatonic shape 1, because I felt that slide down is what I could hear, like Jimi Hendrix was doing, and sliding up, and sliding up, and sliding up. So going like that. That's how he was playing, so I was copying that. So once you've got that, and once you can hear that the next note is going na, once you already know your fretboard and what notes it's going to give you, then when you're listening to a backing track, you can already hear in your, I don't know, in your head what's going to work and what's not going to work with what you're hearing, and then you just kind of sing your way through it, and yeah, come up with some lines that might work and they might not. Of course, there's subconscious muscle memory in that, as there always is, because you can't just play a solo always at the same speed all the time. Sometimes you'll need some notes that follow on a little bit quicker to give you solos light and shade and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, yes, interesting one for tonight. But yeah, I mean, this is just, for me, I think it's a huge advantage to just be able to play over anything, because you don't need to know keys, you don't need to know scales, you don't need to know modes. And that's the other thing about, when playing through something like that, which a lot of people call the Egyptian scale or Phrygian mode, if you want to do things that way, that is something that, again, I didn't learn that, but when playing along to a track that has that Egyptian sound to it, your ear naturally goes to that. Goes to those places, but that's because I know the sound of the intervals. I know what already I know that I know that's a semitone going and that might be the note that I hear in my head, so I kind of know where it is already. But anyway, I mean, that's another live stream or video in itself that will go on for about 5 years, explaining about lead playing and shapes and scales and hearing notes and knowing where they are, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, we have hit 507 likes. So thank you guys for hitting that thumbs up. Of course, you could do that in the future if you're watching this on catch up as well. That it all really helps. Oh, this ads thing has popped up. Let me stop it. Right, there we go. Got there just in time, so we won't be getting another advert. So cancel that one. Right. Thank you, Paul, for that donation of $2, and it says, can we hit 500 likes? New record likes? I don't know if that is that a new record. I think certainly in modern times it is, since we started doing the live streams again. So yeah, 511 likes so far, which is great. Right, yeah, thank you guys for joining me on tonight's live stream. I know that I've been rabbiting on at the end of the live stream, which I don't usually do, but I will be here again with a video tomorrow night for you guys, an analysis video. I'm going to be live streaming it again on Saturday night, as always, 11 PM Greenwich Mean Time. And I think that is everything for tonight's live stream, because we're up to date with everything. I did mention Yarn's donation just before we did the Field Jam, so that is all up to date, which is great. Right. As I always say, try to stay as sane and as safe as possible in this crazy world in which we live. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll catch you at tomorrow night's analysis video, and hopefully you can make it for Saturday night's live stream as well, where we'll be doing much of the same craziness that we've been doing tonight. So thank you guys for joining me, and I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!